group up and take a slow 5v5 engagement, and 9 Pandas is all about one hero pick off, quickly nuke him, get back, and then reset the fight. They're so fast on their damage with, as you mentioned, the Spear Breaker, the Bat Rider, but also the Timber Saw from Aincrad that can just mow people down.
And this is gonna be a wild one. It's like, oh, you guys wanna keep fighting? Well, you know what? We're gonna keep fighting back. This is gonna be mid. This is gonna be
Timbersaw versus...
Melojule, yeah, playing Tiny, something that we didn't mention. I've seen a lot of Tinies. I've seen a lot of like mid carry Linas. Both of these heroes are flexible, but yeah, Melojule will be playing the mid Tiny, so he's gonna come online super fast.
30 seconds to battle.
Considering Aincrad's playing against a Tiny, leveling reactive armor is not really what he's looking for, right? It's all about that whirling death max level, couple of timber chains, and the moment you hit level 6, you're gonna try and kill the Tiny.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know if Tiny possess. Maybe if you like mess up, but you should not be able to kill Timbersaw in this matchup. Even though you are getting solo XP, it's still very difficult. Maybe one value point in his reactive armor, but as you said, you might actually just completely skip it.
It wouldn't be the wildest thing. You just get some physical armor, Shiva's Guard, and some magic armor, and then you are immortal at that stage. You probably will be looking towards a Lodesorb as well this game, considering you're playing against both the Line and the Lina, but primarily the Line is going to be a nuisance in that regard. You drain your mana, you're stuck. Like that's kind of the worst position for Timbersaw. If you have no mana, you can't play.
Pretty much. I'm wondering how this top lane is gonna go. Looking at Navi, they have Lion, the best hero in Dota for the last 3 months, pretty much. And then you also have Abaddon, who's gonna be putting in some good right clicks. There is a way of dispelling Aphotic Shield with Enchant, but I don't know if he's gonna be able to play as aggressive as he would like to in this type of a lane. Because Abba, he puts a lot of pressure on the enemy melee hero. You also have Lion with the control, who's gonna be, you talked about mana draining. Sven, not the most important thing to have mana on the hero, but still you want to have some mana for a stun.
Well, the creep camp did not get blocked, so Zayach does get the first pull of the game off, which is a little bit unfortunate. Solo didn't decide to keep that one guarded. And that should at least get the lane equilibrium a bit more in favor of the Navi side. Of course, if the camp is not blocked, Solo will be able to get some good creeps from that area, which is even better.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can get some nice creep early on, you could make a rotation. And now putting in pressure onto Zayach here, who's a bit low on mana, level 1 here. Blood Grenade dropped as well. Sven getting very close. If he gets a stun, that's going to be a kill.
Yeah, Zayach is just gonna be first blooded. There is a water rune right next to him. He's actually gonna be able to pick it up and steal it away from Aincrad. The stun comes out, but first blood for Solo, and Aincrad just gets a little bit of random experience walking by. So he's a bit sad that his water rune got taken down, but it's a Timbersaw. He'll survive. He actually does have 2 points in reactive armor, which I really didn't expect.
I guess he was getting harassed by Tiny's free grab early on, so wants to have something. Right now, sitting at 10 CS, Tiny 14. Tiny from the mid lane, like he tends to come online relatively quick, and he can make those early rotations. One thing that just happened is Nefrit, he got a lot of solo XP in this top lane because there was also a rotation from Dark Lord himself trying to get that kill onto Lion, which also means that Nefrit will be able to pick up Lotus, and he's having the time of his life on Abba. 14 and 3, has a full creep wave as well, bottom.
There's a little bit of a chase. Alberca pushes back Malady. Ogre is very tanky. Is he going to be tanky enough? Alberca needs to be careful himself, but will be able to stay alive. There's no Dragon Slave yet on Shigetsu, so it's only right-click damage for the Lina so far. That also does show that it's going to be right-click Lina. Bat Rider struggling to get last hits, but that's because even though it's a universal hero, it's got awful right-click damage.
Yeah, it's not great. This is with the Bracer, 2 branches sitting at 61, 64 damage. Level 3, not the greatest. His attack animation also not ideal. It's very difficult to last hit with this hero. One thing I like is that Malady put a point in Bloodlust at level 2. So you have Bloodlusted Lina with Fiery Soul, 2 points in it. So there's going to be a lot of right clicks. So 9 Pandas will need to find a way how to play this lane. And what Antares was doing is dragging the creep wave. Now charge to the bottom lane. Let's see if he wants to complete it. Doesn't seem like he wants to do that.
Well, he's going to take a bit of damage here coming through.
Here. Oh, they were not on the same page. Getsu did not want to chase. Malady used Blood Grenade.
Antares would probably be dead because he did charge. But I guess Shigetsu just doesn't want to miss any creep kills. So I think they definitely could have secured that kill on the Spirit Breaker. And Alberca, he's trying to recover. Maybe if they get a couple of stacks, and Terry's is walking into the area. Stacks to make the Batrider recover, especially the Ancient stacks, will be pretty big to get done. But it is a Spirit Breaker, so he doesn't have the best way of stacking camps unless he randomly charges through them in a Charge of Darkness attempt.
That's the downside of melee position 4s, where you can't stack multiple camps at once. Some can, but you need to use like, your abilities.
Dark Lord, yep, you're up against an Abaddon, and all he has to do is right-click you down.
He doesn't have boots. Nefrit has boots, has Orb of Corrosion, hitting at pretty high CS at this one. Just got level 5. I don't think they can touch Nefrit unless they can bring some extra heroes. Because Sven is not that hero that puts pressure early on. Sometimes you'll see, you know, if the lane is good, you will see 2 points in Stormhammer. But in this one, he needs to prepare to go to jungle as fast as possible. Try to collect this XP in the top lane. Dark Lord CSing okay, sitting at 26 at the moment, but would definitely allow to have some extra.
Definitely a little bit scary. Maldi, in the meantime, TP top side with the gateway, and they're going to put pressure on the tier 1 tower already. Abaddon with level 2 Curse of Avernus. They've got pushing power, but in comes the Timbersaw TP. And Einkrad is looking to blow someone up, and it's going to have to be the Ogre Magi. And an easy pick off. I don't really think there should be any problems coming in. While bottom lane, yeah, that's what you get. If you leave the lane to a lone little Lina, she can just get charged and melted down by the Batrider's fire.
I like how Ogre tried to camouflage himself in the Ogre camp. Back in the days, like, Ogre model was like the model from Ogre Frost Mage. So they looked kind of identical. There's video on YouTube. It's, I don't know, 10 years old or something. But it's pretty funny where the guy just, like, sits there in the middle of the camp and pretends to be a neutral creep. And then gets fire blasted to
death. I'm happy they updated all the models, except for Morphling. That one's still... You know,
it's a meme now. I don't think we're ever gonna change it.
Yeah, no. If you start memeing it, Valve's like, oh, they like it. We'll stick to it.
There's that solo rotation that we were talking about. Goes through the gates. But Observer Ward scouted them out.
Yeah, but Shigetsu gets pushed all the way back. So looking farm of the creeps very relatively close to Shigetsu, who will now lose the tier 1 tower in the bottom lane top side. Same story. You got the Sven heading off in towards the jungle, but Sven is a very capable jungling hero. Going for the Mask of Madness first item. Both supports are pretty much taken care of.
Dire's top tower is in danger.
They're kind of like mimicking each other really well. They're taking the gateway, trying to be annoying, pushing the tower, forcing the safe lanes in the exact same spots as well. I mean, EU teams kind of do think alike after such a long time in the scene.
Yeah, pretty much. It's been you know, full divide. Not for all the teams. I think like certain teams have. For example, you'll have Team Spirit coming out from their region where they they're gonna beat you. If it comes down to late game, their decision making is just way too good. You had some like lesser aggressive teams as well, which was shown at TI, coming out from Eastern Europe. Up another move
Yeah,
from
Malady.
Einkrad. This should be an easy kill. Malady, let's see if he wants to take it. Yes, he does.
And there's the kill secured. Nefri is getting charged in the meantime by Antares, who's just using it to get a little bit closer and maybe scout. While mid lane, Solo, stunned up, has level 2 Nature Attendance, has 13 magic wand charges. Should be still fine to just walk this off, and indeed, Mello cannot really get close enough to get the toss back. Pandas looking really good. I mean, obviously, Einkrad's playing one of his best, if not his best hero in the Timbersaw. As I say that, he's dropping pretty low, but Magic Wand, he has a bottle
Oh,
as well.
he got hexed.
Chain away, he is trying to disengage. Mello's chasing, has an avalanche, going in for the kill. Einkrad does do a lot of damage in response and will drop, but Mello in response will drop dead as well. Laguna gets thrown out. Solo's just healing that up with the attendance wisps, and
look at
Malady's
the
going to be the second
skeletons.
one down. Yeah, this is a lot of extra bonus damage here, and the tier 1 tower towards mid is going to be the target.
Dark Troll Summoner had plus 71 damage on that troll, plus all the skellies when pops the ulti, extra damage coming out from those skeletons as well. They die almost immediately. 9 Panda, I mean, still, Navi, they need to bring extra numbers. What they want to do with their heroes is go in, quickly delete one hero with Tiny's combo, try to reset. You even saw Shigetsu moving to the mid lane. Gonna make something happen, uses Laguna Blade, goes back to farming. But in terms of net worth, 9 Pandas still sitting at 2k.
And 9 Pandas is definitely not in a bad position. They have to be in this position, though. It's kind of how their lineup works. I don't think you want to take this game late against the Tricore, pretty much. It's scary when a Baden turns into that right-click core when he gets Harpoon and all those rules.
I think everybody who plays Dota recently has experienced some ABBA from the offlane who turns into like mean carry, gets to level 25, Manta style. That damage procs instantly. You get silenced, you're slowed, you can't move. Maybe a diffusal blade, a basher, whatever. It becomes unkillable unless you have like break mechanic plus silence, but at the time he will still have Manta style to dispel it. So pretty difficult hero to take down, very annoying.
And no one really builds Silver Edge anymore. With the removal of the crit function from it, it's a very sad item these days. So you'd rather not get it. Obviously, Lina is a hero that could get it. Speaking of which, Lina is getting jumped here by Einkrad with the haste rune. Alberca got taken down. But because Sayed showed up and has that finger, Einkrad's a little bit scared in going further forward without anyone from his team joining.
And this is a new tech build from Lion, where you go for 1-1-4 build, since Mana Drain
Dire's middle tower
is a much lower cooldown. It deals damage. You can pick up the shard later on, maybe get it level 20, so you're at the minute 20, so it's maxed out. I don't think you should like buy shard immediately since you need a blink dagger. But I see Lion actually going for shard. He has that in quick buy. He's like, well, you know what? My Tiny is gonna go for blink dagger as his first item, so I don't necessarily need to be the one initiating. My god, damage from Timber. Whew.
It is kind of the situation in this batch. Most lines just get the shard at 15 minutes. It's kind of with like Grimstroke has to do the same thing these days, which feels very terrible because you could get it for free at 20 minutes. It's always that feeling of I could just get it for free. But it is too much value. Having that free BKB in the team fights where all of a sudden the Timbersaw and the Bat Rider do kind of no damage to you, that's exactly where you want to be.
And you're also training 2 extra targets and also having that extra range, the break distance. It's a powerful shard, that's for sure. As you mentioned, like Grimstroke, you need to pick it up. You can't just rely on 50-50 that maybe you'll get it. It's too valuable. You can see Dark Lord needs to TP out. Nefret starting in with some right clicks, has Echo Saber finish now. Level 10 on ABBA.
Yeah, Dark Lord is top net worth, so that's a big plus for the 9 Panda side, but Even with all the ungodly strength that you get on the Sven, it's gonna be really hard to nuke down an Abaddon first, because he does have that ulti always behind him, and then he can turn the game around.
Oak from Navi, they want to make usage of this freshly purchased Blink Dagger. Solo, he's gonna get blown up here. Or will he?
No,
They
3 points
need
in
some extra.
attendance. He's gonna be just fine.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
So far. I mean, he is still very much slowed by the Ignite, but they won't be able to chase him down. And that's kind of it for Navi. Like, they have technically a lot of magic burst between the Tiny, Lina, and the Lion, but they don't have any damage after it's thrown. So if you don't blow any of these heroes up, they'll just come back in afterwards and completely annihilate you. Even the Bat Rider has his Mage Slayer ready, so they've got tools.
Yeah, I love that build. Mage Slayer on Bat Rider, overtime damage, which is also like damage over time amplified by your sticky. So Solo, he's going in one more time. I thought this was a replay for a second. Pops the drums, and they know how to itemize. You did mention Mage Slayer. I see Timbersaw immediately going for that Eternal Shroud after finishing off Veil. And also small items on Solo. He's the one who's holding a Cold Bracelet. It's only 5% magic resistance. It was pretty much OP when it was 10. Has raindrops, has drums. So that means that they understand where most of the damage is going to come from. So you can expect casual cloaks coming out, glimmer capes. Everybody wants to tank up.
Solo is constantly summoning and taking over creeps and sending them down towards mid just to be a nuisance and able to keep that mid lane pushed in at all times. He's got drums, and Terry's has drums, so they're very fast. Alberca has a Blink Dagger now on the Bat Rider. That means their initiation is also ready to go. Of course, Sven wants a couple more items. He's going for the BKB, then wants Blink, crit, blah, blah, blah. The entire list goes on the Sven, but you don't really need him to fight at this stage. You just need to make sure that Shigetsu doesn't get any farm.
Shigetsu's been like really struggling, but in the last few minutes he did manage to clear some of the stacks. Has boots of travel, now going into Gleipnir. Pretty standard stuff on your Carolina. Zayats will die one more time. They can easily show out of nowhere with like Blink Lasso
Should look to their middle
or
tower.
Spirit Breaker Charge. Sven, he's gonna pick up a Blink Dagger. Timbersaw with like one Timber Chain. They have two gigantic items coming out on side of 9 Pandas. That's gonna be BKB on Sven when he disassembles his Echo Saber, and also Eternal Shroud on Timbersaw. So not gonna be an easy few minutes for Navi. They need to punch back. They need to be able to get some kills. We still have 0 finger stacks. We saw only like 1 Laguna Blade being used in the mid lane. 9 Pandas very good at dodging the fights. They still manage to kill the tower and back to farming, pick up those items that I mentioned. BKB is being delivered to Dark Lord as we speak.
They're just outplaying them. Like, the 7K, they're growing in net worth the entire time. And yeah, of course, you have Sven, which is a great farming hero. But Melo's dropped off significantly. All he's got is the Blink Dagger, which is a great tool. But if you go for a Blink Dagger first item on a tiny mid and you don't get kills, it's a waste of gold.
Yeah, people like there was a Tiny was always popular because toss back it's always gonna be good. People understood how to play against position 4 Tiny. Like, don't get him any kills. This was like even in the era before there were neutral items. These neutral items help position 4 Tiny a lot, where he can get you know, any kind of mana, arcane ring. You get some like move speed. You get some trusty shovels. So you can dig gold, get closer to your Blink Dagger. Same things can be said about mid Tiny, where if you're not fighting, this hero doesn't really farm that fast. He wants to be able to just go in, kill the target, keep repeating that. They want to be able to put the pressure. They should be the one controlling the game with your mid Tiny, because like this constant threat of one hero being blown up immediately.
The Solo is tanking up as well. He's got the casual cloak going for the Crimson Guard. He's got the Dragon Scale now on top of it as well. He's just going to try and stay alive. They will find a kill though, and Terry's does overplay his hand, and with the Laguna plus Finger, which they finally managed to combinate, they will get the first Finger of Death charge on Zayach. However, it's a couple of big cooldowns, of course, used. So if you find an opening, you might want to try and blow someone up, as Aincrad, speaking of which, he gets decently close.
Interesting item choice from Malady.
Pass back. Okay, Aincrad, he is surrounded. It's 4 enemies. He needs some help quickly. They throw a lot of magic damage at him, but there it comes in. That
Great
Eternal
charge.
Shroud, God Strength, charge forward. The Freed gets his borrowed time pop, but Malady is going to get chunked down. Dark Lord just melts his opponents, and who's now on the run? Indeed, Navi used everything on the Timbersaw, and he's still at half HP. Stun onto Zayach, push him back. They still have the lasso on Alberca as well, so you even have to be careful for that one on the Baton. He doesn't have borrowed time to save himself. 3 kills come in, and they definitely did not expect that. They just can't kill this Timbersaw anymore. He's got 2.5k HP. He's got magic armor, physical armor. It's hard.
They went for the tankiest target on the team. We see Eternal Shroud in action on Timbersaw. Kind of tough. Fugetsu will get the last hit. Elajul also getting involved. And to go back to my point, Malady, this is Frank Tread's Ogre with 2 gauntlets, and he picked up Vampire Fangs as his neutral item.
Night vision's nice.
Night Vision's nice, but is that it? I always advocate to see. We should add that into game to see like which item choices they had.
Yeah, I definitely would like to see that as well. The only reason, like, there can't be 4 worse ones if you want something else but night vision. Because for me, you're playing against Spirit Breaker, night vision tends to be like a game changer, especially if you're staying close to your tiny, so you can get the avalanche interrupt and such. Because you don't care about lifesteal, spell lifesteal in the slightest on Ogre Magi.
No,
it's completely useless on the hero.
Absolutely. It's just night vision if they want to see like Batrider jumping in. Sven now with the blink dagger. Fire using a scan, going different directions. They're definitely fight ready.
Solo does get blown up, but in comes Dark Lord charging with the BKB. First kill gets secured, looking for the 2 supports. The Freak still has the borrowed time. They're just ignoring him completely, knowing that that will pop the moment they use any spells on him. Alberca, and they get the catch. Mello with the avalanche buyback coming through. There's going to be the borrowed time cup coming through, and yeah, and the Freed's now in a very tough spot because there is still a lasso at the ready. He's surrounded by enemies, and speaking of the lasso, is going to go on the Ogre, who just bought back. So
team wipe.
yeah,
Pretty much. Shigetsu managed to get out, but yeah, Ogre, he bought back and he died. Solo, immediate buyback. This has been his special ever since he was playing Dota, trying to bait the enemy team. Not as tanky, you know, still a bit low on HP, only 1100. No, Shigetsu, no way, he gets caught here.
That's a very nice Earth Spike coming in response. Shigetsu might want to try and go for the entire scale here. Mello, yeah, it's still early days for this game, so the death timers are not as high. Luckily enough, they get back in time before it goes completely awry for Shigetsu.
Oh, Lina has Gleipnir finish, so that's going to be a good way of stopping Timbersaw from chaining away, stop Spirit Breaker from charging in, but definitely needs more items. Like, you can already see the difference between him and Sven. Sven sitting at 3k net worth more. That's like almost a full big item. That's like Crystallis plus 1,000 gold, which has just been delivered on Sven.
It's actually kind of hilarious to see the scary Abaddon that we were talking about previously gets completely ignored. They're not even looking in his direction. They just walk past him. Well, let's kill someone else who's in the near vicinity. We'll get him last, but definitely not least. It's
yeah, some ABBA games tend to go this way, where you feel like you're owning, but if you can't lock onto a target if they're kiting, and these are very good heroes to kite, like Spirit Breaker can charge away, 1 Flame Break, Warcry on Sven, Timber Chain as well, so there's multiple ways. Even though Navi, every single hero besides Abba does have a stun, if you're getting jumped at, like, what's your plan? Sven pops a BKB, jumps on one of the targets. There is not a single defensive item. There is no Glimmer Cape. There is no Force Step. So whoever Sven decides to jump is gonna die.
Yeah, these supports don't really have any money between them. Ogre Magi has full power treads for some reason. Going for the Glimmer next. I mean, the Glimmer is nice, but the full power treads, I'm wondering why.
Dumb luck. That's it. But I don't think this should be the item on Ogre. He packs a punch. He has like a lot of damage. Bloodlust level 4. It's just as position 5 Ogre, you don't get to use it. Especially in a losing game. You see 9 Pandas holding on to Aegis, 13k gold lead already. And now they want to take a fight. They want to be able to kidnap someone with Lasso. 1 Shiva's Guard already finished on Alberca. Uncred thinking about getting a different item. Kaya into Aghanim Scepter.
Yeah, the Aghanim Scepter. They did just barely get close to killing him, so if he has Ags, then he's definitely never going to die. Plus, it's a ton of extra damage to throw on his opponents. They have no way of dispelling it anytime soon, because the Nullifier should not really be on their opponent's minds, considering they just want to stay alive through it all. In the meantime, Shadowblade done on and Terrorist Spirit Breaker. Same net worth pretty much as Mellow. So this is an extra core in the game. Jump onto the Lion, quickly blows up Zaich. And the tier 1 tower / tier 2 tower top will be the next targets here for 9 Pandas. I think they feel they're in control enough to try and clear out the map.
Pretty much, they want to choke them out, to take out these remaining tier 2 towers. I don't see Navi taking a fight. You should always be careful about the toss back, so going for the high ground is not going to be as easy. Batrider doesn't feel like too comfortable. If he sees Abba, he might go and try to kidnap someone with Lasso, but if Abba is there, he might hesitate. And they could also go for like high ground, pop God Strength, but they could also just choke them out, wait for Navi to make a mistake. You can see Antares making a gigantic charge over the map and goes away, shows where they are. 9 Pandas setting up some vision in the enemy triangle. 1 near the tier 3 tower, so that's going to give them a lot of pick-off potential.
Yeah, and Terra's going to be able to just constantly push in all the side lanes. Same with Solo. You've got 2 supports that are incredibly capable of split pushing. So you're constantly going to be forced in towards your base, not in towards your jungle, where of course the Timbersaw and Sven and Batrider are clearing most of the creeps. And slowly but surely we'll lose the net with advantage completely. Even Solo is really farmed. He's very close to a full Crimson Guard now.
Not the item that you see. Like, this item is kind of non-existent unless it's a really good game for it. There's some right clicks coming out from Lina. She shoots like because of the attack speed. Oh, Ogre. That's a big Ogre. Look at him. Shield, Bloodlust.
Power treads.
Power treads, yeah, Vampire Fangs.
Oh, that's a nice 1300 crit. Never mind, that's not that big of an Ogre. Gets taken down, heals coming out, and Terrors is still just perfectly fine. Full HP after the Laguna Blade, and they walk it off. It's just a rough game to make anything happen here for Navi. It's run at Dota at its peak.
Pretty much. Another tier 2 tower. Gone for Navi.
I always used to call Malady in the beginning Malady.
I thought you were gonna say Melody, but yeah, some of the nicknames that these guys have, it's like what is that? Like, what does that even mean? And Antares, they can't catch him. This guy is very elusive. Pops his Shadowblade, Bulldoze, and he has Planner Pocket since they killed Tormentor. It's a pretty cool ability. I've seen good usage mostly against Doom, where he goes in and like tanks the Doom for his team. Could be a decent one in this one. Lion Hex stun coming out from Lion, some like Laguna Blade Finger as well.
I think Einkrad's name is actually from Sword Art Online. I think that's the world that they like in the anime, the world that they come from, which is a very strange anime, by the way. But it's about game
2 hits.
Dark Lord going ham here, and looking for a jump forward. Needs to wait for his Blink Dagger to come off cooldown before he can start chunking for more. But Mellow will just be mellowed out on the side. It is going to be a 2 against the world right now, but the high ground push comes in. There's nothing really to stop them from taking more. Dark Lord's Aegis does expire, but he's got 3.2k HP. Timbersaw's got 3.4k HP. This Laguna Blade, this Finger of Death, it just doesn't cut it in terms of damage. And Lina is not at the point yet. He doesn't have to take this. The right clicks are just currently still too weak.
Yeah, Lion, this is level 1 Finger, 600 damage. Timbersaw has, what, the 52% magic resistance, has Dandelion Amulet, so blocks 300 magical damage. Finger would actually not deal damage to Timbersaw. He would, like, regen up in a second, what Finger did to him. So, pretty useless to use it on him anyway. And Dark Lord, aka Sauron himself, finds Nemesis Curse. 35 damage and Glass Cannon. Like, because I think this is a really good pick up on certain heroes, but if you're the ones getting focused, you can feel that something is off. It's like, why am I taking so much damage? But if you're the one dealing damage, you're like, hell yeah, this feels good.
Yeah, if you're ahead, it definitely does feel great. And if you're playing a hero that doesn't really care that much, considering he already has a lot of sustain and even like allies around him to defend him at all costs, it is wonderful to get that item. I was wondering what heroes would pick up the glass cannon type of item. I was always thinking, that's like sniper, and that's about it. I don't really see anyone else have the cojones to attempt it. Nice catch coming out. High ground ward placed, charging in for more. Zayach can't even get his spells off. Will be taken down. They do lose themselves at least the Spirit Breaker, but it's a charge from the cores, and there is nothing stopping them. Dark Lord actually takes a little bit of damage here, and Aincrad needs to get towards the low ground with the buybacks being used. However, they are primarily all in very good health still.
3 hits, needed 1 extra hit for silence, but Aincrad cutting them out from this cute little cliff that he made for himself, cutting down some of the trees, and getting there with the Blink Dagger. They also have Gem on Alberca, so it's impossible to set up any kind of vision. Navi, I think in this game they use like 5-6 buybacks already. This tells you a lot how the game's been played so far. And I think that everybody on 9 Pandas understand they need to tank up. Look at Solo's build. We did mention this Crimson Guard, which is great against Abba, his illusions, right-click damage. He didn't even put a point in impetus. Instead, opted to go for stats.
He's not going to be any of those greedy... I mean, it's Solo. He's not going to be the greedy right-click Enchantress build that a lot of +5, +4s Enchantresses go for. No, he is just, I support, we win. It's all about making it towards the DreamLeague tournament. So, no trying to be a hero in such a game. Just make sure that your heroes do not die.
Pretty much. Now going for Pipe as his next item, holding on to Craggy Coat. So 25 armor and can get extra 12 if he uses Toughen Up. They're not gonna die. Like, these heroes, it's almost that they need to group up. They need like 4 heroes to kill this Enchantress.
He's only had 1 death this game as well. It's really remarkable. Solo can take over one of those nice Abaddon illusions, use it for tower pushing. If he waited a little bit, they could have actually have blown it up a lot faster, but they might just be waiting for Roshan indeed. They ping it out. Dark Lord wants the Aegis. No, like, they're not risking anything. They're playing this very methodical. They are 30k ahead in 32 minutes, but there is no risk involved.
Absolutely. Like, in terms of comeback play, it needs to be some, like, gigantic tossback coming out from Mellow Jewel. Alina going into Daedalus, level 20, so that's going to be some, extra attack speed coming out from the Fiery Soul. Bloodlust is maxed out. Maybe if she's somehow, like, 25, those crits would definitely hurt from Dragon Slave, but I don't see it happening.
Well, it's definitely being all slowed down as we speak. In towards the Roche pit they go. Solo is playing pretty much just a ward at this stage. Could also put his little alpha wolf that he's got farming up
Nah. It
in the
needs to be
pit.
him. See, Roshan spawned faster because it was his hero.
It feels its
Inside,
presence.
yeah. Speaking of presence, Dark Lord himself is getting in. Satanic, disassembled that Mask of Madness.
Yeah, it's a big one. That's Sven right now. He wants to get Bloodthorn next, I guess. I mean, you can replace your Power Treads and then upgrade your Echo Saber into a Harpoon, and then you're pretty much done. I mean, obviously, Aghanim Scepter, Shard. Surprisingly, he doesn't have a Shard yet, which is...
Shard's pretty
Yeah.
good on Sven. I've seen when you're the one controlling the tempo of the game with Sven, they do tend to pick it up because it's undispellable first of all, and also it's been buffed, so now it passively gives 3% movement speed to allies.
And 6 armor. Don't forget, Lina has all the damage that they have. Armor is all that they need. This Tiny is going for at least his Aghanim Scepter, which could be great damage, but he is still about 1,200 gold away from it. And needs to get it before the double damage runs out. Maybe if they group up, you can get enough damage, hopefully, for them to be able to get a couple of kills. But it is going to be a rough... to try and nuke down these players. Maldi gonna get lasso, dragged back in the Dark Lord's hand. 1700 crit. Why not? Might as well just keep chunking.
They even have upgraded blinks. 2 out of 3. Minecraft has overwhelming blink. Dark Lord. Swift blink available. And this is do or die for Navi.
Yeah, the final push, it seems, charging from the feet, does get the silence going, but is going to get his borrowed time pop. Toss back, Aegis is taken care of. Went a lot faster than I initially expected it would be, but Dark Lord does pop the BKB, charging forward. He's going to try and get a nice crit there. Unfortunately, will not be as lucky, and they turn their attention towards the racks. Zayj actually walks forward, and will have to pay dearly for that. Without a buyback available on the line, he didn't even get to the point of a Blink Dagger this game. He's got a Ghost Scepter and his Shard. That's all the line was able to purchase, and they will definitely be able to secure Megas here with Borrow Time on cooldown.
Even though Abba had like massive amount of farm, it's still impossible for him in this type of game to lock onto a target and die. They just like kill it, and she gets to... After dying, we'll call GG.
Yep, 36k net with advantage in 36 minutes. They put it up in a nice little bow and keep it at exactly what you mentioned. Once you